so much coming out into the open lately.
The same people who own the labels own the prisons.
Literally the same people?
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons.
This whole Diddy occasion is more or less a burning roof.
So if you didn't know, Diddy has been accused of trafficking minors, providing them substances, then getting high-ranking people to SA them so he could film it and use it as blackmail against them.
The last freak off tape that just got sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitor, went for $500 million. It had multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown.
A mad burning fire this is. The more water one pours in, the more it burns.
Since November, you'll probably remember that Combs has been named in 8 civil lawsuits, 7 directly accusing him of sexual assault. Elizabeth, what more are you learning?
Good morning, Kate. So this is obviously the biggest escalation since those March raids on Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. We are now hearing that federal investigators are preparing to possibly bring witnesses in front of a federal grand jury in New York City. What we have heard is that possible witnesses have been notified that they could be called to testify. Now, sources do caution that investigators are still in the process of gathering information. In fact,
this is exactly what Epstein used to do. And many people think Diddy's partner in crime, Jay-Z, could be exposed next.
Elizabeth, what are you learning about the evidence that investigators could be reviewing here?
And those federal raids that were conducted on his homes back in March, obviously a lot of people wondering what was seized. Well, we are learning now that federal investigators are in possession of video footage that was taken inside of Combs's residence. We hear that these investigators have been contacting individuals that they have seen on this footage. One person, in addition to the accusers who have filed these civil suits, is a male sex worker.
In federal agents raiding the homes of Sean Diddy Combs.
It's part of an ongoing trafficking investigation. Homeland Security and other law enforcement agencies searching the rapper's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. Several people could be seen being taken into custody near Beverly Hills.
That was Diddy's multi-million-dollar mansion in Miami under serious raid by federal investigators no less than 8 weeks ago. His other mansion in Los Angeles was also raided the same day. Why was Diddy's house raided? It takes a lot of confidence in information to carry out a raid like this one. There's been so much speculation. And while federal authorities have given sparse public comment as to what prompted the raids, several news agencies reported that they were part of an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. Authorities are also reportedly widening their probe to include potential witness intimidation, sexual assault, and firearms violations. Investigators had seized firearms, phones, videotapes, and hard drives belonging to Combs during the raid, though it is unclear how many devices were confiscated.
Talk to me about the timeline of how this typically works in terms of if we're seeing a raid on several properties. Does that in conjunction with an arrest? Does that come before an arrest? Does that, how does it typically work?
Typically, Jesse, it's in conjunction with an arrest. But I started thinking about this a little bit more last night, and I was thinking that if he has videos or his associates have videos and they are attempting to distribute those of young male children or female children, that means that a child is in imminent danger. And so part of me wonders if this was done to stop that, and that they will get to the arrest obviously at some point. Anytime we did raids at the FBI of this nature, we also had an arrest warrant for the individual as well. And so it is unusual, but I don't want to say it's unheard of.
The internet has run into a frenzy ever since. You don't raid a person's 2 homes for domestic violence. There must be more to this than meets the eyes. Most are compelled to think that Diddy must have stepped on a bigger toe this time.
What do you think this could mean?
Well, what happens here is that the federal government started a case with him. Apparently the search warrant that had his houses in Miami and LA was pre-planned already. They knew they were going to do that. So they have a much bigger case. Right now with the guns, they're going to check them. They're going to trace them, see if they were used in any crimes. They're going to go over anything about cooperators that are cooperating with them. They're going to be talking to a lot of people about certain criminal acts that he might have committed, and then go from there.
And what about the videos?
Well, they're going to sift through those videos. They're going to look at them and then see if there's any criminality on those videos, and then they'll go from there.
So what do you think? I mean, it just seems like the house of cards might fall for Diddy right now.
It's not looking that great. Right now, I know that he has higher-powered attorneys, and with all these allegations that are coming out against him and against other people, a lot of people are starting to be very nervous about what's going on.
Considering that he obviously has incriminating materials on all the persons of clout who were frequent at his parties and orgies, materials which were often used for blackmail, there are public figures there, obviously, who do not want to be seen in any of those tapes, and they would do anything to make sure that it doesn't get out. Let's listen attentively to what Jaguar says Diddy's been about with one of those tapes lately.
Is he protecting people, or are people protecting him?
Oh no, he's selling it because he needs the cash. The last freak off tape that just got sold on the dark net, which I know because I monitor, went for $500 million. It had multiple stars in it. Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Chris Brown, Justin Bieber, Drake. It was a really interesting night in Calabasas, and he just sold that footage.
How come you think it doesn't get leaked to the public?
The dark net?
Yeah, like...
Because of the dark coin. Most people don't even know that the dark coin exists. But that's how they're trading for all of the flesh they sell. Which is why I became so outraged last year when the twins turned 16 and he had them dressed like prostitutes, and then he auctioned them off as NFTs because the NFT that he sold them to was attached to that dark coin. It was like a promissory note to sell his daughters to the highest bidder.
In the wake of the lawsuit filed by Cassie came the raids. And in the wake of the raids came the launching of the assault footage on the internet by BBC. Ever since leakage of this terrible footage got out, several people have been coming up to testify. Many more underground news that should keep your hairs standing on their ends are also out in our hearing.
What you gotta say now? What you gotta say now? You ain't got shit to say. When you put your girl on the snap, baby, yo babe. I mean, shit getting weird. Come on, baby, it's hot outside. You fucking wrapped up in that blanket. Let's go jog on the beach.
Diddy invited me over for dinner a couple months ago.
Oh shit, yeah, I saw that.
He told me, he gave me a piece of advice. He said, I've been documenting everything in my life since 1992 or whatever it was. He's like, I have footage.
It's the secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation.
Damn.
So it says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991.
One person who, for some time now, has been causing waves on the internet with some very unsettling allegations against Diddy and Jay-Z as crime partners is none other than Jaguar Wright.
Puffy, why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up.
We hear now that Jaguar Wright has been arrested. She was taken into police custody in Dallas on Thursday morning 6th of this June. According to the Dallas County Jail website, the singer, whose legal name is Jacqueline Wright, was arrested and charged with third-degree felony for theft of property between $30,000 and $150,000. A $10,000 bond was posted early Friday morning. People tend to think her arrest wasn't a mere coincidence with the timing. She was arrested just days after her blockbuster interview with Armon Wiggins. It was rumored by Tasha K that she was on the run. Guess she was right. Wright had said that there's no charge to arrest her. Whatever they're saying it is, it's not. They can't hold me. There's no charge, the 47-year-old exclaimed. She also claimed the arrest was an attempt to silence an interview, as her public appearances in recent months have come with accusations of inappropriate behaviors from some of the music industry's top names like Diddy. People are starting to pay some attention to the glaring evidence and signs which have been giving Diddy off as a feds boy. Major celebrities like Eminem and 50 Cent shared some opinions too, which their encounter with the person of Diddy had given them concerning him.
I went undercover to see what Diddy does to new rappers. I'm like, look, Diddy, here's my demo and my resume. Diddy replied, the only demo I need is to see how good you suck my dick. I was like, the fuck you think you is?
What?
Like, I'm Diddy. I took off my disguise and said, I'm Eminem.
Now, Fifth, when you continuously call Puff gay, is that affect your relationships in Hollywood?
I don't call him gay. I said,
Let me read it, Fifth.
Oh my God.
Sorry I can no longer help you guys. Soon you will all be gay and happy. You are all now left under leadership of Puffy Daddy. Report to the nearest rainbow. Dinner Thieves in theaters January 19th.
That's why what he's doing, he says things, he doesn't even know what he's saying is like fruity. You know what I'm saying? Like, he says something fabulous and he goes, but me and you, we ain't party. Like, we need to party.
Did you miss me though? For real, because it seems like a thing with this
partying
birthday
with
party.
Puff, man.
But I'm talking about for your birthday. Huh? Why won't you party with me for your birthday, man?
We partied for my birthday before. You came to my party.
No, but me and you ain't never really party, you know what I'm saying?
What is he talking about? That's the kind of stuff that when people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago. At Chris Lighty's wedding, he told me he'd take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of no, dude, you take me. That's what a guy says to a girl.
Cat Williams is not left out in the fray. He also has one or two things to say about Diddy Combs.
I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right. Because P. Diddy be wanting to party. And you gotta tell him no. You got to tell him no. I did. I did. See, I got the receipts for everything I'm telling you. That's why I can say them so freely.
This is all just the unhurried work of time. Here's one thing. The media is always watching, and it has this way of judging people. The day it turns on you and starts, it doesn't stop until the whole dirt has been spilled and the whole rot dug up. It's crazy. That is the media.
People ask, why do they stay? How could she leave? We just watched her trying to escape on camera. And it triggered that animal to jump up ass naked with a towel on and successfully punt her down a hallway, drag her like trash, and then throw large glass objects at her. He did that in a hotel where he knew cameras were.
Jaguar Wright has got no issue exposing Diddy and Jay-Z for grooming young girls, and then even going as far as to unalive them when they become a liability. She appears really confident in her allegations. Jaguar remarks that Jay-Z is a lot more dangerous than P. Diddy, as he is a lot smarter and calculated. He's been grooming young girls since the early 90s, such as Aaliyah and Foxy Brown, to name a few.
Sean Carter is worse. He's smarter. He's patient. He's not sloppy. This pussy been lining up people he calls friends and stepping to the side while they get hit by the guillotine for 30 fucking years.
But why does Jaguar seem to sound somewhat personally wounded by these guys? One can easily see that she's hurt. This is not something to be ignored. She may have been a victim too.
Sean Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it. want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me, and he's got it on tape.
Only as has been anticipated. I've got the scars to prove it, she says here. Further speaking, it has also been alleged of Jay-Z having something to do with the deaths of several children used for satanic rituals. Also rumored to be well involved in the trafficking with Diddy Combs, and is no stranger to his activities, including Beyonce.
I was at a party at Diddy crib in LA. This was the beginning of 2020. You know what I mean? Diddy had put everybody else out the crib, like the influx of people, he had put them out. But he had took a liking to me in particular around the time, man. It was really, you know what I mean, like putting his arm around me.
Right.
So he had put majority of the people out, but he allowed me to stay in there. Me and, you know, maybe about 15 others, you know. Right. Jay-Z and Beyonce being, you know, two of the other 15 people in the room.
There were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand it.
Biggie Smalls was there.
Biggie Smalls was there. Lil' Kim, Craig Mack.
All these people are hanging around.
Yeah, man. Faith Evans, Jodeci, Mary J. Blige. They didn't know nothing about this shit.
By the way, has anyone heard from Jamie Foxx lately? It was said that Jamie Foxx was beginning to spill too much concerning these activities, was why he had faced a mysterious health hazard that almost caused him his life on April 11th, 2023.
I used to follow Diddy. He was so famous. I started hanging out with Puff. He threw a party. He said, yo, Playboy, this party costs $1.5 million. I'm like, you are out of your mind. I said, I'll throw you a party for $400. That will rival this party. He got pissed at me. He said, no. In LA, I'm known for throwing these cool parties. So he came to LA, yo, Playboy, I'm in town, make it happen. So I went into my phone, called up 200 of the coolest people. They all came to my house. Puff showed up with SUVs and FBI. He gets out and he comes in my house. He looked, he said, oh, that's the girl on that show and that's the guy on that show. And I said, yeah, we're all friends. We all hang out. He said, but here's what's crazy. The people at the party, Puff at that time had a room. Missy Elliot had a room. Dun, 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 you know what I'm saying? Dun, 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 dun. And standing on the wall, nobody knew who he was. Guess who it was? It was Jay-Z. Standing on, they didn't know who he was yet. And I saw, what's up, man? He said,
it's a nice party.
He
should be Dave Chappelle. It's a nice party. Like, really, it's crazy.
So what I did was, I would show up to the party in my little town car. This town, you know, I grabbed me a town car so I could skirt. Puff the SUVs and the Bentleys, the whole night. He get out. I get out too with a camera. The big Canon, like, yo, Puff, I should document this, right? Yo, what's up, Playboy? what you talking about? I said, no, I should get this, man. You follows with the whole nine. He says, yeah, let him through. So I started following him. So I followed him the whole time. I remember watching Puff at the Beverly Hills Hotel, filming this. And it's a pool party that is ridiculous, man. And I look up and I see Dr. Ruth. I don't know if you know who that is. The sex lady. The sex lady. I see Dr. Ruth. I said, Miss Ruth, could you please come over here? This guy by the name of Sean P. Diddy Combs. I need you to come meet him. I need this for my camera. Dr. Ruth and Puff at the Beverly Hills Hotel pool.
It's been broadly noticed that Jamie Foxx has grown really quiet about a lot of things ever since he was fortunate enough to make it out of the hospital.
First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that's prayed, man, and sent me messages. I cannot even begin to tell you how far it took me and how it brought me back. I went through something that I want to thank everybody. I've been through something. I've been through some things. You know, it's crazy. I couldn't do that 6 months ago. I couldn't actually walk to And I'm not a clone. I'm not a clone. I know a lot of people were saying I was cloned out there. So it feels good to be here. I cherish every single minute now. It's different. You know, it's different. You know, it's beyond. I wouldn't wish what I
what I went through on my worst enemy, because it's tough.
In her interview with Real Life Productions a month ago, Wright was asked what she believes will happen next, to which she replied, "Kathy White's true killer is going to be unveiled, and it's not a man." From there, she was asked to elaborate, and she accused Diddy of having a tape of the alleged crime. "Show them the tape, Diddy. You've got it," she stated. "That might buy you a little time. We're gonna hang you high, Jay-Z too, Beyonce too."
Kathy White's true killer is going to be unveiled. And it's not a man. And that woman died screaming.
Anything else?
Yeah. Show him the tape, Diddy. You got it.
Oh, man.
That might buy you a little time. You should probably stop looking for plastic surgeons.
Man.
Looking for a new life, new face. We're gonna hang you high. Jay-Z too. Beyonce too. And we're gonna round up all the See, I love a good gay man. I just can't stand him. And that's what it is.
With that being
You wanna know what's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
I'm about to f up America.
Oh.
That's what's about to happen next.
Here we go.
No more filter. From this point forward, any word that I say, I ain't holding back. And I ain't saying alleged either. Y'all said I was lying the first time. Now it turns out I'm telling the truth. You still don't want to admit that I was right, but you don't want to admit that you was wrong. So really, then the diplomacy doesn't matter. F you. I'ma just keep ruining your lives with the truth.
For those who don't know, Kathy White was alleged to be Jay-Z's mistress before passing away in 2011. Their rumored romance and her subsequent death led to countless conspiracy theories, which are all completely unconfirmed.
Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could.
At the time of Aaliyah's death, there was a whole lot of speculation about if she was murdered because of how shady her death was. See, Aaliyah was actually never supposed to be on that plane that day. In fact, she explicitly told everybody that she had no plans of getting on board, but they drugged her with substances, and once she was unconscious, they put her on that plane against her will, only for it to crash less than a minute after takeoff. One of the employees who was present at the airport that day actually saw everything go down and spilled all the tea. He said the airport staff and Aaliyah had the common sense that the plane was overweight. They took her out of the van. She didn't even know she was getting boarded on a plane. Now, I don't know about y'all, but it's clear as day that Aaliyah's death was intentional. The other passengers who were on board that day were just unfortunate people who were simply in the wrong place.
With him, anything's possible. He collects women. He lays with men.
Jay-Z lays with men.
Of course he does. You know, I think the oddest thing in the world is looking at videotapes of him having sex with another man and watching him and knowing how so comfortable.
You know who else I was told, and she won't,
And
like
I'm not
lawyer,
saying allegedly.
I understand.
And
I understand.
I will not list the name of my source.
I don't listen to my source.
I have seen Sean Carter having sex with another man.
You saw that.
Someone I know. Someone that's very close to me.
Well, I know someone that saw a tape of Kanye West, Will I Am.
You want to know what's sad? Someone said something about my brother Ricky Corrupt from Dog Pound. And that was the hardest conversation to have because I know what they do to these guys. They get them drunk, they keep them drunk. They get them high, they keep them high. They rig the stats and circumstances. You give somebody enough of something, and then they take that and they use it for ransom. It would explain his disdain if he had been drugged. A third of the men that I know that got victimized, they didn't even remember it happened. They saw the tape.
Yeah. I was also told about a situation where a guy woke up and he could not walk because his ass was just in pain.
What kind of grown man justifies essaying a young man like Usher to the point where he has to be taken to the hospital.
And just hold on a second. Amazing viewers, if you've gotten up to this point in this video, then it would mean that you've actually settled in and are having an interesting viewing already. Don't forget to kindly support our works if you are yet to by hitting that like button in front of you. Share video with your friends and families to keep spreading our eye-opening black narrative, and kindly subscribe to Stay Put for more interesting contents in the way. We are delighted to have you always with us. Now let us proceed. Rodney Lil Rod Jones, a music producer who has also sued Combs, accusing him of groping and touching his anus, and repeatedly forcing Jones to solicit sex workers and perform sex acts to the pleasure of Mr. Combs, also spoke to R.S. Jones told the publication, "He is a monster. Nothing has changed. This guy got no soul. He has no duty to anyone, not even his kids." The CEO of Universal Music Group and father-in-law to Sophia Richie, Lucian Grange, is also listed as a defendant in Jones's amended complaint filed in the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of New York. He is accused of aiding and abetting Combs, specifically in racketeering and trafficking. Universal's Motown Records had a licensing agreement with Combs Love Records. Young Miami, a member of City Girls, is mentioned in Jones's amended complaint, filed in the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of New York. She is not a defendant, nor is she accused of misconduct. She is listed as being a part of Combs' trafficking operation and accused of bringing Combs' Tucci, a drug sometimes called pink cocaine, on a private jet. The complaint says she was retained on a monthly stipend as one of Combs' workers. It also alleges that her cousin, named as Jane Doe 1, assaulted Jones, forcibly giving him oral sex without consent. Model Crystal McKinney described taking part in a fashion show for Diddy's Sean John clothing brand in February 2003, and in her lawsuit, claims that Combs pressured her to take a hit from a laced joint after saying she was acting too uptight. The suit claims Combs allegedly forced her to perform oral sex on him, an incident that she said sent her into a tailspin of anxiety and depression that resulted in a suicide attempt.
I had a whole future in modeling mapped out that was stolen from me. Being sexually assaulted and having no recourse is so painful.
McKinney told RS,
I felt like I was dying every day because I did not yet have the strength to come forward. I hope that by speaking out, I can help other survivors come forward and seek justice.
More news. Thought-provoking. That should even make you start to have some insight of how life is being run in American politics for only God knows how long, how the entertainment industry is run, controlled, in relation to the general state of mind of the black populace, which would in turn give birth to the behavioral patterns and actions that, you see, are prevalent today in the black American communities.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons.
Literally the same people?
Literally the same people who own the labels.
This is Ice Cube voicing here. Ice Cube exposes us to the view that this is more or less a chess game. Ice Cube is one of the old rap lords and pioneers of hip-hop culture in the industry for a long time now, all the way back to the Eazy-E era. And Dr. Dre, the NWA, nigger with attitude, rap lord, must know exactly what he is talking about here.
The records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't. Some records are made by committee, meaning record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this. We're gonna have this guy write the lyrics. We're gonna have that. You have, the record company pushing the narrative. Some social engineering going on here to make sure those prisons stay full.
The Black Project. This is not the Black Project. This is a stain on the Black Project, an infiltration of the black culture, a mockery of all that the black American community has been through already in the history of time.
Outbreak on Diddy's escapades seem to have unlocked this certain door to some vault where some deep underground movement and agendas have been kept hidden for forever from the public eyes. This confessional read from the American rapper, Crazy Bone, takes us even deeper into this vault.
The secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation.
Damn.
So it says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points
in popular music, and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for.
Damn.
Hold on, let me
So we gonna tell the story.
We gonna tell the story. We ain't scared.
You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do?
They after us, not just playing.
Look, that black van.
So look, so he says, between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came to Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then, since technology and media weren't accessible to people like that, like they are today. The industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted.
Right.
This may explain why in early 1991, I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Rap music's new direction.
Yeah.
Little did I know we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen.
Crazy.
So this was the meeting. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were being there.
Right.
Most of them familiar faces. Speaking of those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private meeting to discuss the future of hip-hop.
Talk to him.
Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign the confidentiality agreement, preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued, in some cases, disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long, but very clear on matters and consequences, which stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately.
And just in case you are yet to figure out what this is talking about, I'll tell you. John Holston, a retired CIA agent it is said, has gone on the record to reveal that the CIA influenced gangster rap culture with record label owners like Diddy, who was working with the American government against his own people, the black community. This agenda was to control the lives of the black American youths to the certain direction of crime, so as to keep the prisons continually full with blacks. And how does this work? Record label owners have been instructed by this sinister organizations to guide the lyrics of the music they promote in their labels to continually ignite that character, which gears in the certain direction towards all kinds of violence and criminal activities. That way, the prisons would be the sure destination of most black American youths due to the subliminal influence of the songs on the minds of the black communities, which is sung by their own people. How does that sound? Unbelievable, right?
One of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable in the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement.
Damn.
He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who receive funding from the government based on the number of inmates. The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we also be able to buy stocks in these prisons.
And how does the CIA get rap moguls to do all this? Well, they used every trick in the book, including extortion, blackmail, and strong-arm tactics to ensure cooperation by rap artists.
Retired CIA agent John Homeston admitted this week that the CIA was behind the creation of gangster rap in the 80s in order to glamorize criminal behavior and fill private prisons. The US government spent vast sums of money on this covert operation, which was designed to create division and corrupt the American youth to nihilist and anti-American ideologies. According to the former agent, famous hip-hop lyrics of the legendary hip-hop outfit NWA were scripted by a team of psychologists and war propagandists inside the CIA. Fuck the police and other anti-establishment lyrics were intended to unleash a wave of cynicism towards authorities, promote the use of narcotics, and glamorize the gangster life in the minds of impressionable young people. The CIA worked in tandem with the music industry elites to create a funnel in which young people would be indoctrinated with brainwashing gangster rap music, introduced to a life of crime, and then delivered to the highly profitable private prison system. In order to create this funnel, the CIA introduced music industry owners to the private prison industry. Once the funnel was in place, the system was a lock.
After the CIA started paying them for their own agenda, now these rappers would glamorize criminal behavior. And that includes the entire East Coast and West Coast dispute that Diddy was involved in. And you know what? Let's say it how it is, man. There was a lot of people who are starting to see through Diddy's charade. Because how is it that he keeps on committing these crimes and then getting away with them? Unless he's already in with the FBI and now with the CIA.
This is nothing short of alarming. The fire burning before our own very eyes today is wild. Connecting dots and classes, different chapters of events, and at the end of the day it's going to be a vast field burned down to the ground, which is going to bring about some true clarity from miles away, with Diddy at the center of it all. This is in fact contagious. A whole chain of people in the industry might have their feet slip on this one.
Diddy's ex Cassie has been in touch with the authorities in the federal investigation, and this has got Jay-Z very worried. Sources with direct knowledge say Cassie is among the witnesses the feds have been in contact with in connection with the Diddy investigation. They're told she's been working with investigators for several weeks, even before Diddy's homes were raided. So given the timing, it seems Cassie may have helped the feds establish probable cause to get a judge to sign off on the search warrants. Other women have also been in contact with federal investigators.
It's dark and demonic energy that this industry was built on, and people manipulate young women, they manipulate kids, and at the end of the day it's all for the dollar and all to feed their ego. So I've seen some shit where you're like, that's just not right. Like, that's just, that person shouldn't be talking to that person shouldn't be in the room with that person alone. When you're in this position to change people's lives, and you hold the keys to what they consider success, you see a different aspect of the person. People will do anything to achieve their goals, and then people will manipulate and misuse that energy to get what they want.
The entire black community is very much in awe now, but definitely very sad. This is not in the agenda of the dream for the black community. This is treacherous to the Black Project, a monumental obstacle to generations away. Diddy Sean Combs has been found out. He's had his hand full, his head pressed under the weight of several wild allegations and cries of indignation for the past weeks. Ranging from the most famous one, his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, to Rodney Jones aka Lil Rod, his producer, to Crystal McKinney, April Lampros, Joey Dickerson-Neal, Cindy Rueda, Liza Gardner, Jacqueline Jackson, Lisa Lamas, Welton Shelton, you just name it. The list is endless. With more on Diddy still coming out, people are compelled to reflect on Kanye and all what he has been telling the public those years.
You're out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize.
Kanye has been a sensation on the internet for as long as anyone can remember. Kanye has been boldly particular about how he was singled out as some scapegoat by some controlling organization to make him look crazy. He had said that Diddy Combs was one of those sent after him to make sure that the said agenda came to fruition.
But as far as Meek Mills, Puff Daddy, whoever, none of these niggas, all you fake hard niggas, fuck you. Hold on. Okay. All you fake hard niggas, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? I don't give a because you can't shoot nobody anyway, and the reason why you got to talk is because you did a deal, you fed. You know what I'm saying?
They ain't giving us money, they giving us acknowledgement. I don't want your acknowledgement. And I went so far past any level of acknowledgement. I was banished, I was exiled. All of the usual suspects, the handlers, Dave Chappelle, Meek Mills, Diddy, all these people aren't in position. Now, for us as celebrities, they got to call and put a leash on them. What we gonna do with Ye? Oh, he delusional, that's the best. Dave, give him a call. Diddy, give him a call, tell him.
Kanye wasn't the only one who had firm affirmations of P. Diddy being a feds boy. There are a number of them who had come upon certain evidence which had led to the hunch. Diddy's former security and bodyguard, Gene Deal, for instance, made some strong allegations.
People don't realize this, brother. First and foremost, Puff has been dodging the legal system for years. Puff being, and this is documented, Puff being a CI for an FBI agent. They was taking some papers up to the FBI, so like when they was here in New York. They was taking paperwork up there and stuff like that. Don't know what it was, but later on found out that he was a CI.
Now, Primetime can't confirm this, but if Diddy was an FBI informant, it explains why he was giving a pass to wreak havoc, according to his producer's lawsuit. What Diddy wanted, Diddy got.
And he said every room in Diddy's mansions were wired with cameras. And this was used for blackmail material. As you said, there were athletes, there were celebrities, there were politicians, people from the royal family, that Diddy was an FBI informant. So he was a snitch and was feeding information to the feds. Even Little Rod said it's not just like Epstein, it could be worse than Jeffrey Epstein.
This is not the first time Kanye has talked about Diddy being a Fed who made a deal to get away with his crimes. It's said that Kanye revealed this on an episode of Drink Champs a few years ago, but the video was mysteriously deleted a few days after its publication. Kanye claims that Diddy would never go to jail no matter what crime he's committed because he's an undercover agent for the feds. The more reason he wasn't investigated for the murder of Tupac.
He's going to be protected, but they've been using Diddy for how long, Jesse? From the politicians, from Maxine Waters?
So back in 2004, he launched Vote or Die.
Yep.
So he was for Kerry, then he was for Obama.
Yep.
Then it was for Hillary, and then he's for Biden. So he has been the community organizer for the Democratic Party in the streets for about 20 years. He's a valuable asset.
Big time. So if you think about it, he's obviously in with these higher up politicians. You're in there recording all these people and having all this dirt, like they say with Epstein was working for Mossad, or God knows who he was working for. Who knows who Diddy was? Like, he's not recording all these people, all these princes, just to have like footage for when he's older to show to his kids. This is a coordinated thing, and I think the Cassie thing blew the top off. And now they're like, we have to go in and make sure nothing is incriminating for us, or else he does.
Right, because when they went in and raided Epstein's mansions, we never saw any of that footage.
Not 1 minute.
Only Ghislaine Maxwell went down.
That is Jesse Bailey Waters, an American political commentator and television host speaking on Fox News. Waters says that they've come upon overwhelming information, which only implies that Diddy may have been worse than Jeffrey Epstein.
Is he controlling? Yes, he is. Will he put his hands on a female? Yes, he will. Would he put his hands on a male producer or anything? Yes, he will.
This whole Diddy's wave that's been rocking the international community non-stop is, like I had stated earlier in the last video, becoming a sorry trip. Damn, it is a sorry trip. It can only be so. It's gonna be a sorry one all the way down. And here's to the ones saying that it was dumb of Puffy to post an apology video after footage of his assault on Cassie was leaked. Wait a minute there. How's that a dumb thing to do? Why shouldn't he apologize? I mean, what is he supposed to do? He's not supposed to be laughing. His ground is shaking right now. The man is facing his own earthquakes. And who, in their right frame of mind, wouldn't be sorry? It should be stupid all the more not to be. This is a sorry trip. A pathetic one. Who wouldn't be sorry after being found out to be one who makes videos of himself while violating and assaulting all kinds of women and probably all kinds of men too? Of course you should be sorry. Very sorry for that matter, Diddy. Those you assaulted may have appeared at first as your victims, right? But you actually were the one victimized. I believe you can see that now, how the table turns. You may have been the oppressor all along, but you were and are the very one oppressed here. Oppressed by some force of evil. A force you have got to stop to answer to, as it takes you nowhere else but into the pit of shame. Diddy? If the allegations against you are true, then you have to turn to God. With your heart. Every moment that you live is a precious chance for you to do better. Every new day is a new chance to set things right. In closing, these things that we do out here, as a media, goes way beyond making great numbers of views. What we are doing here is more serious and substantial than that, will always be. This is about the whole of humanity and the way forward to go. The inviolate responsibility of every human being on this planet is to be of some use to yourself and to your environment, once given the chance or the power. Anything that negates this is a harm. To perpetrate the negation or harm makes you a menace to society. And the certain destination for all menaces to society is incarceration. Feel your errors, Diddy. Let it prick your heart towards true repentance and ignite in your soul a conscience. To love your neighbor as you love yourself. To treat your neighbor as you would love to be treated. This is not another one of those moments of excitement. No. But it is a moment of great reflection for all humans and how we treat each other. This brings us to the end of yet another video segment. We look out for what you must be thinking right now from all of this in the comment section. Do support our works by hitting on that like button in front of you, share with your friends and families to keep spreading our eye-opening black narrative, and subscribe to keep getting notifications, whilst you also keep the channel growing. We are delighted to always have you. Thank you for watching.